Polygon and Solana are two of the biggest blockchains in the world right now. Today's video, we're going to introduce you to these two chains. We are going to see how they compare against each other in a range of different criteria. And if you stick to the end of this video, we'll give you our assessment as to which is the better network at this point in time. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Polygon and Solana. So, first of all, let's talk about Polygon. Polygon is one of the first scaling solutions that aims to improve on the transaction throughput that the Ethereum network possesses. And effectively what it is it's an ecosystem of different solutions that all aim to increase Ethereum's throughput. There are currently 5 to 7 different solutions currently in development within the Polygon network. But as of right now, only the Plasma sidechain is available. And what this Plasma sidechain is effectively its own blockchain that runs parallel to the Ethereum network. So let's imagine Ethereum as its own blockchain here, and Polygon is its own blockchain here. Polygon will run its own security, it will process its own transactions in this parallel blockchain, and every once in a while, it will batch those transactions to the Ethereum blockchain, where they will then live and leverage the security of the Ethereum network from then on. So let's talk about Solana now. Solana is a competing blockchain to Ethereum. It is its own layer 1 network, and many have dubbed it to be the Ethereum killer. The reason people are dubbing it as an Ethereum killer is because it's the only solution out there that's proved a formidable threat against Ethereum's current reign of dominance. So the Solana blockchain regularly processes over 3,000 transactions per second, and early tests have shown that it has the potential to process 40 to 65,000 transactions plus at this current point in time, and it hopes with future scaling solutions to up this number to the hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. So that's a little bit about these two blockchains. Now we're going to go into how do they compare against each other. How do they solve the blockchain trilemma? We're going to compare the two ecosystems. And finally, we're going to compare the partnerships between these two networks. So what is the trilemma? The trilemma is something that faces all blockchain networks. Effectively, for a network to dethrone the traditional financial systems, the network will need to solve these three problems. So these three problems are security, decentralization, and scalability. So let's first talk about decentralization. With any of these networks, one of the main goals is to effectively disrupt the traditional legacy systems that exist today. These are typically very centralized. They rely on a few different core players in the forms of big banks, government agencies, that kind of thing. We're trying to create a system which is fairer and does not rely on these people holding so much power over everyone else. The second most important thing is security. So with these networks, we're going to be putting a lot of our sensitive financial information as well as other identifiable information on these blockchains. We want these to be as secure as possible. And finally, we need these networks to be scalable. We need them to compete with traditional offerings such as Visa, such as MasterCard, payment processors that process hundreds of thousands, if not millions of transactions per second. If we can't get the scalability element, there's no way normal users are just gonna trade off and go, okay, I'll pay $10 of fees, or I'll wait 10 minutes for my transaction to process. So scalability is really important, but it's the one that most blockchains today suffer from. So let's go and see how Polygon and Solana compare in solving each element of this blockchain trilemma. First of all, we have scalability. So for scalability, we are using the real transactions per second metric. And what this is basically the amount of transactions each network processes per second, excluding voting transactions from this count. So what we can see here with this real transactions per second measurement is that Solana is the clear winner, processing about 307 transactions per second as of the time this video was done. This compares to about 35 transactions per second from Polygon. So we can see here it's a marked difference with Solana about 10 times that of Polygon's. Secondly, we have decentralization. So with this, we are using the Nakamoto coefficient. So what this is effectively a count of the number of large parties or large actors in the network that would have to conspire with each other in order to take control of parts of the network. So this is often meaning validators, and these are basically the people or the computers that are effectively ensuring that the transactions are legitimate within a network. So you'd need about 27 of these validators to conspire with each other in order to control part of a network for Solana. For Polygon, this count is a lot smaller. You would only need 3. So in this case, Solana is the clear winner. So now let's talk about security. So this one, Polygon is the clear winner here. We are using the outages count here for our measure of security. And the reason being, if we are using a blockchain network, we want this to be running, we want this to be functional. And when it's down, it effectively means you can't process anything. You're concerned that your transactions will still be there when the network reboots. So this is kind of the metric we've used in this case. So we can see here, Polygon is the main winner. They have only had 1 outage compared to Solana's 5. This has been one of the biggest weaknesses of Solana over the past year. It's been down on 5 separate occasions and has experienced some network degradation at different levels as well. But it's also something that's been overblown. If you look on Reddit, you look on Twitter, there'll be people just talking out of their ass, basically saying that it's down every second week or every second day. This is not true. It's 5 separate occasions where basically it's been overloaded by bots attacking popular coin launchers or popular NFT launchers. And Polygon has had its own outage issues. It was out for, I think, 36 hours earlier in the year and didn't get anywhere near as much press as the Solana outages have. But even saying that, Polygon is definitely the winner here. Solana does need to sort out its issues here. And I know that the Solana team are basically trying to solve these issues. But yeah, it's a bit of a work in progress right now. So that's a little bit about how each of these networks goes about solving the blockchain trilemma, how they match up against each other in doing so. Now we're going to be talking about the ecosystems of these 2 networks. So if we look at this graph here, this is basically a measurement of developer growth. We can see that Ethereum's the clear leader, but Solana is kind of following the same trajectory. So it's got about 1,000 developers after the first commit. And if we look at Polygon, that's about 500 developers for that same point in time. So there's clearly been a lot more excitement from developers to build on Solana. Polygon has about 300,000 to 400,000 active addresses on a daily basis. And so we can see a spike here of about 800,000 daily active addresses in the months of October and November. This was due to the launch of digital collectibles on Reddit. So they had a partnership with Reddit where basically people could create NFTs, branded it as digital collectibles. And this got a lot of interest in the first few days. A lot of people signed up for this and got their digital collectibles that they could then use as avatars on Reddit. And this was a really good initiative, so it spiked up the activity to about 800,000 active addresses. But it seems like it's kind of fallen back down to that 300,000 to 400,000 range. So here we have the chart of Solana. Solana has gone through some booms and busts in terms of people using the network. It's got a really prominent NFT ecosystem. So there've been some really big moments of gold rushes in the NFT space, which has like flooded the ecosystem with a lot more wallets. When these hypes die, it tends to kind of fall back down to a median. But in general, you can see that they've kind of hovered around 500,000 to 700,000 active addresses on a daily basis. And this has spiked over 1 million active addresses per day in periods of time where the NFT activity has been particularly hyped up. And speaking of NFTs, here we have the NFT trade volume between Polygon and Solana. You can see here that Solana is absolutely killing Polygon in this space. The Solana network is really well set up for NFTs. Unlike Ethereum, it doesn't have the transaction fee issue. And it's really quite easy to use from a wallet perspective. So in terms of UI, it kind of beats out Polygon there. And as a result, Solana's just consistently dominated the NFT space. And finally here we have total value locked. This is a measurement of DeFi activity on each chain. And it's basically the USD value of all tokens, so all Polygon tokens, all Solana tokens that are locked up in smart contracts to be used in lending, derivatives trading, any other decentralized financial activity essentially. And we can see here that Solana was killing Polygon earlier on with a much larger TVL. While Solana was dominating the space earlier, Polygon's actually flipped Solana in the last month, especially after the FTX collapse, as the Solana token price has really taken a nosedive and Polygon's has actually remained relatively strong in comparison. So in this one, Polygon is the winner, but it's been a tightly contested competition over the course of the year. So we've seen how these two networks compare against each other across a range of different criteria. Now we are going to look at the partnerships that each of these networks are trying to pursue, and we're going to evaluate whether we believe this will actually translate into users onto the network that will ultimately drive the growth of these ecosystems. First of all, we have Polygon, and if you look at this chart, Polygon is absolutely killing it in this space. Their business development team is honestly second to none at this point. They are onboarding some of the biggest businesses in the world, and this is really promising to see. If these partnerships can succeed, then we can expect to see a lot of people who wouldn't have even touched the crypto space normally getting onboarded into these different initiatives, and that could really have a massive effect for the Polygon ecosystem. And here we have Solana. So Solana is doing a great job as well. They've got some really cool partnerships. They recently announced a partnership with Google. They also have a partnership with Discord, and this was announced in the last few weeks. But overall, I think Polygon is the clear winner in this one. They are doing a great job at onboarding traditional businesses, and if this does translate to user adoption, they can expect to see a lot of growth in the not too distant future. So we've looked at a lot of different things here. As promised at the start of the video, let's go in, let's assess which one we believe is the better network to invest in going forward. So looking at it, we have Solana as the winner in terms of solving the blockchain trilemma. Solana is the winner in terms of relative strength of ecosystems, and Polygon is the winner in terms of bringing on new partners into the space. But in terms of what you should invest in right now, it is critical to look at the relative performance, the relative strength of these two tokens in the context of the wider market. So if we look at Polygon, this is currently about double the market cap of Solana at this point in time. And if we look at Solana, it's down more than 95% from its all-time high price. So comparing these two, it appears that Solana has been beaten down more than Polygon in this bear market. And to me, this reflects a greater opportunity if we're looking at the next 2 to 3 years. Solana still has a lot of its core strengths going for it. It has just been particularly beaten down, especially in the wake of the FTX collapse. Polygon, on the other hand, has shown relative strength. So in terms of which one to invest in right now, I'll be personally investing in Solana. I believe it's trading at a steep discount to its inherent value. I think Polygon is also a great choice to invest in. So potentially what I might be doing is investing more into Solana on a monthly basis, dollar cost averaging my paycheck into buying more tokens, but I'll be hedging that with a investment in Polygon as well, because at the end of the day, I think these two networks both show promise, and in the course of the next 3 to 5 years, I think these will be two of the stronger performers. But ultimately, which token you invest in is completely up to you. Hopefully this video has given you some background as to what you should be looking for in terms of different networks to invest in. And ultimately, you can draw your own conclusions from the information provided here. This is just one man's analysis, and I've been wrong on many a thing as well. If you found this video insightful, please hit the subscribe button below. In doing so, you help me reach more people like yourselves who are just trying to get informed about this crypto space. And until next time, it's been a pleasure.